You're listening to This Week in Big Sky Football, a comprehensive look at all this week's action in Big Sky Football. Now here's your host, Scott Gerard.
And welcome on in. It's another edition of This Week in Big Sky Football. Conference play is here, and it kicks off this weekend. I'm Scott Gerard. Lloyd Cole, of course, making the magic happen, producing the show as always. Great show lined up for you. Cal Poly head coach Tim Walsh and Sacramento State head coach Jody Sears will join us. We'll also be joined by Weber State linebacker Landon Stice. Then in our final segment, we'll wrap things up with Craig Haley from Stats. So let's recap the games from the previous weekend. Cal Poly began the week with a Friday night contest, defeated Brown 44-15. Joe Prothero erupted for 228 yards on 43 carries and 3 scores, all career highs. Coach Tim Walsh earned career win number 100 with a victory over Brown. Weber State hosted South Dakota in its home opener, dominated from start to finish, so get the win over the Coyotes 27-10. Trey Tuttle knocked in 4 field goals, added a PAT in the win. Portland State defeated the College of Idaho 63-14 to win its first game of 2018. How about 657 yards of total offense? Montana State clipped Wagner at home, coming away with a 47-24 victory. Bobcats scored in every quarter with a balanced attack of 3 rushing and 3 receiving touchdowns. Sacramento State earned a 28-25 road win over Northern Colorado. Hornets scored 14 points in the fourth quarter to complete the comeback win. Big Sky now has 4 schools ranked in the FCS Top 25 polls. Leading the way is Eastern Washington, number 6, followed by Weber State right behind him at number 7 or 8, depending on what poll you're looking at. Montana at number 20 and UC Davis at 21 and 25. And with that, let's go out to the phones. Welcome in the head coach of the Cal Poly Mustangs, good friend of the program, Tim Walsh. Coach, how are you?
Great. Good morning to you guys.
Good to catch up with you once again. Now, Coach, you've been around the league for a while. How much fun was it to pick up that career win number 100?
Well, to be honest with you, I didn't even know I did.
Really?
So, it was interesting. I got home on Friday night, and one of my sons had flown out from Chicago. And afterwards, I walked in, and he said, "Congratulations on your 100th win." I said, "Really?" That's interesting. But it's probably a credit, number 1, to longevity, like you said. But number 2, all your wins in coaching are really a credit to people who surround yourself with, the coaches, but most importantly, the players. Players win games. And, I've been pretty fortunate to be around a lot of great players that are a lot of great young men that have given me the opportunity to be somewhat successful.
You're only the 3rd coach in league history to hit that 100-win plateau. When you look at some of the great coaches and some of the great programs, do you take some pride in that?
Well, I think there's no question in this game, and there's a lot of good coaches that don't have the opportunity to win. I think I've been at places where I've had opportunities to win, and I think that that comes with the kind of the territory is if you have opportunities to win, you should win some games. And I think that, we all do it to win. But again, I have to give credit to the players that have played for me and chosen to play for us at both Portland State and Cal Poly.
What makes this league so special? You've seen a lot of years in Big Sky. What makes this conference so much fun to be a part of?
Well, it's even getting better, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think that, since I got here in 1996 to where we are now, the conference is so much more difficult week in and week out. The balance of power. And you look at some of the schools that have made rises, including Sacramento State. Congratulations to Jody Sears and what he accomplished last year. It looks like what he's on his way to doing this year. But everybody's good. Northern Colorado's good. Sacramento State's getting better. UC Davis, Dan Hawkins is doing a good job. I mean, there's not a bad team. What Southern Utah's done the last couple of years is remarkable. And I'd be remiss without mentioning Weber State and what Jay Hill's done there. I think it's incredible. We've played them already. I think they're really a solid football team, and he does a tremendous job. And then you have your traditional powers that are still traditional powers. Eastern Washington, Montana, Montana State. They're always going to be there, and you're always going to have to contend with the Northern Arizonas of the world, and you got to keep up with them. And if you don't, you're going to struggle. And I think we found that out probably a little bit last year.
Joe Prothero, just another tremendous performance coming off the injuries last season. Rushed for 228 yards on Saturday. He's your player of the week. Talk about his skill set. What makes him so special for your team?
Well, I think number one thing is his love for the game of football. He loves football. I mean, he loved the fact that he had 43 carries and only his longest run was 14 yards. I mean, that's just who he is. And in his position in our offense, you get hit a lot. And he doesn't shy away from that. He's actually a better runner after first contact, to be honest with you. And he's instinctive. He's tough. physical, great hard worker. He's probably faster than people think too. So, he's just one of those guys that, when you look back in your career, you're going to always say, boy, I love coaching Joe Prothro. I had a guy at Portland State, Charles Dunn, who's way up on the rushing charts in the Big Sky, and Charles was just the opposite of him size-wise. He was 5'7", 180 pounds, while Joe's 6 foot and 227. But they had similar mentalities to the game. And to be compared to Charles Dunn's a great compliment to Joe.
You run the triple option there, and I know there's a lot of opponents that don't enjoy playing you and that system. How are you able to execute that, and is it an easy system to recruit to?
It's a hard system to recruit to, but it fits Cal Poly, and that's why we do it. When I was at Portland State, we were a pro-style team, and at West Point, my first year, we were a pro-style team. And then, I looked around and said, the only way we're going to be able to compete against the people who are playing is to do something different. So it kind of rejuvenated me, too, a little bit from having to learn an offense I didn't know a ton about. And trust me, we've learned a lot through the course of the years. But, yeah, I think it's difficult to recruit, too. But we can take an undersized lineman, for example. We don't have to be 6'6" and 315 pounds in order to be competitive. Our offensive line probably averages 6'2" and probably about 280 pounds, to be honest with you. So we're not very big. So we can look for an athlete that doesn't have to be 300 pounds or ever have to be 300 pounds, and we can succeed. And the same probably at the slot position. If he can run a little bit and he's tough, he doesn't have to be 6 foot and 190 pound running back. So you can play with some different guys on the offensive side of the ball. Probably the toughest position to recruit to is probably wide receiver. They got to be. I really think J.J. Koski for us is probably an all-conference wide receiver. I think he's as good as anybody in the league, to be honest with you. But whether people are going to actually give him the credit for who he is remains to be seen. I mean, he had 7 catches for 140 yards against a good Weaver State secondary. So, I mean, he's a good player. He's a really good player, but I don't think he gets the notice because of the offense that we play.
This weekend, you got a big one against Eastern Washington. What do you see from the Eagles on film this season? Because it looks like they're doing what they usually do up there at Eastern Washington.
Well, thank God we have Brown on our schedule, because we went number 1 North Dakota State, number 6 Eastern Washington, and number 7 Weaver State, I guess, right in a row. So,
wow.
And then we go Montana the following week. So we're not going to get any easier. And Eastern Washington, to me, they are the athletically the best team in the league, offensively the best team in the league. We're going to have to try to do something with our offense to keep their offense off the field, and try to do some things that can get some points, because if you don't score points against them, you're not going to win. They're just that good on offense, and I think their experience on defense and their size are things that we're going to have to deal with them. They're an excellent football team every way. They're well coached, they're tough, they're physical, and they have great tradition.
Coach, always a pleasure to catch up with you. Congratulations on the start. Keep it rolling. Look forward to catching up with you again soon.
That sounds good. So have a great year.
You got it. Cal Poly head coach Tim Walsh right here on This Week in Big Sky Football. Again, the Mustangs play Eastern Washington Saturday at 1 o'clock Pacific time on Pluto TV. We'll take a break, come back with segment number 2. You'll hear from Sacramento State head coach Jody Sears next on This Week in Big Sky Football. Big Sky fans, all 11 sports games are available on WatchBigSky.com and Pluto TV. 11 Sports is available on various cable, satellite, telco, and OTT providers. Make Big Sky Football a part of your weekend by going to 11sportsusa.com/where to watch to find 11 sports in your area. Again, for all the action, go to 11sportsusa.com/where to watch.
Welcome back to This Week in Big Sky Football.
Welcome on back. Segment number 2 here on this edition of This Week in Big Sky Football. I'm Scott Gerard. Hey, remember, Pluto TV is your leading free internet television service in America. As part of the deal, the Big Sky Conference will air all of its live stream sporting events on Pluto TV for free, including up to 700 football, men's and women's basketball, volleyball, and selected soccer, softball, and track and field events. All you have to do is go to Watch Big Sky on Pluto TV to find the games from several different sports.